All right,
Just
so
link them to
we
your
are
social
recording
media,
now.
like, you know.
All right, we're on. Check, check.
All right.
All
What's
right,
going on?
so going through the UFC picks for UFC 251, and I think both of
Gonna
us
be
had a lot
good.
of agreements on a lot of stuff. So I'm going to get a pen and paper here and write down your list and my list and whatnot, so I can keep that on the side and try to scratch things out and figure stuff out here. While
Yeah,
that is
this
going,
card is amazing. It is so stacked. It's ridiculous.
three title fights.
I,
If that,
I can't be more excited for
you want to
I can't
start with
remember
the prelims and
I
work our
can't
way
remember
up,
the last time I was more excited for a card. Like it's gonna be awesome.
you probably about a year ago for that Masvidal Askren card, where we were together for that freaking KO. Man, that was insane to see. He has
Was
to
that
hate
tonight
every Masvidal
the
fight
five
week.
fight parlay or whatever?
Yeah. Your Masvidal pick got us the 5 fight parlay. Freaking six
Man, if he
hundred
pulls this shit
seventy
off
dollars off
tomorrow,
of
it's gonna
50.
be so mind blowing.
Hopefully our picks will be good enough where even if nobody watches first off, after a couple weeks, this is going to be legend. So that's kind of what I'm shooting for. Do you want to work our way up from the prelims, or do you want to go down from the top?
Yeah, or we could just run through the main card first and then maybe go through the prelims because I don't have picks for every single fight in the prelims, but I have picks for the whole main card
Yeah, the main
for
card
sure.
starts with Van Zant and Ribas, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's
That's
right.
a no-brainer, man. Ribas by decision.
Yeah, I'm going for Rebus. I don't know the method of victory necessarily. But yeah, decision sounds good. Although I think she could pull off a TKO.
I think she could pull off a submission if she softens her up enough too. But Van Zant
Yeah.
has grappling, so that's questionable. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Did
don't
you
know
see
if
the
this
thing
is one of
about
those
Paige
cases where they're
recently
feeding.
talking
I don't know
about
if this is one of those cases where they're feeding Van Zant to Rebus because she seems good, man. Like everything we've seen from her has been pretty amazing.
she's definitely like the next female phenom fighter in my book. She looked unstoppable. I mean, it just all around. And her personality is so sweet. She's just such a nice girl. I don't know. I want to see somebody like that do good. She's got that sunshine personality. And what can I say?
Yeah,
So, and the line on it,
I'm not objectifying Rebus, but she's a beautiful. They're both beautiful women. Might be the best looking fight I've ever
oh,
seen.
yeah, as far as rankings on that, if they were on hot or not. Paige Van Zandt, I was saying that recently she was talking about how she makes so much money off of Instagram and this and that more than fighting, and she doesn't need to fight. And they were talking on the internet about whether or not that means that she's not really into it. But she was kind of saying, like, no, I love to do it. That's why I still do it. But the line on this fight is like negative 800 rebus. 8
Yeah,
to
she's
1.
8-4. Van Zandt is 8-4, and a lot of people say that because she's so pretty, she got a lot further, than she would have if she was not so attractive.
You think?
Which I don't know if that's a fair assessment or not. She's been around a long time, and women's MMA was in a different place when she first got into it. So
Well, you know what a sex vid did for Paris. So there's a part of me that questions whether or not, and I know it's an Asian promotion, but did Misha Tate get as far as she got because she had some photos leak? I don't know.
mm,
Not
Misha Tate's
really.
a legit badass.
She's
Um,
a fucking smart woman too. Like that
yeah,
woman can keep it tied down to I don't know, just watching how she's built herself up every step of the way, right down to getting into the business end of it, as far as her career was just laid out in front of her because she was willing to stick to it. And a lot of people need to realize that that's what you need to do to succeed. Find something that you like and dedicate yourself to it. And even if it seems like you ain't going to do it long enough and people will take notice.
I
It's
agree.
almost
Yeah,
every freaking field. You can make yourself shine if your persistence is more important than brains and hard work. Trust me.
agreed for sure. What do you
Not
think?
to say brains
I
and hard
think
work
that
isn't important.
Rose Namajunas will will pull it off this time. I think she was probably a little unfocused
Absolutely.
when she lost the first time, and I think
She looked
Thug Rose will
unbeatable.
pull it. I think Thug Rose will pull it out.
She, in her fight against Andrade the last time, if she didn't like get that bully hold on her, she looked unstoppable. She was the float like a butterfly, sting like a bee that Muhammad Ali is known for saying. She was floating on. Her footwork was so quick and so precise. And she would move in and pow, and then be right out of there. And then she just got grabbed and she held that submission too long. And hopefully it knocked some sense into her. Like, let go of
Well,
that shit. But
yeah,
yeah,
I
I
think
do think
when she's on her shit, when she's on her game 100%, she's unstoppable. And maybe it's just an excuse, but she claims to have been out of focus and distracted leading up to that fight. And she seems very, very focused for this fight, based on, the press and the promo that I've seen and the training footage. So I'm hoping that she can go out there and get the job done.
100%. She's gonna get the job done.
She has the skills. It is her mental game, at the point where it needs to be in order to do it.
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna finish her though, but I think she's gonna get a good, strong decision win.
I don't know. I think she could, but you're right. Jessica Andrade is way more experienced. She's 20-7.
Yeah,
Nami
but
Yunus is 9-4, but like I said, she's such an emotional fighter. It really all comes down to what her mental state is.
though, here's the thing. She does good at kind of the self-reflection, being in her mind, doing a relax.
I agree.
I think that this kind of isolation on the fight island thing leading up to this might be a contributing factor to just her like really being able to center herself and get into it. So I don't know. I'm excited to see Rose. I really love her as a fighter, as a personality, as a she's pretty too. Is there a single
She's
bad
gorgeous.
fighter? There is not one
Fucking
ugly
gorgeous.
female fighter on the roster.
Oh,
Crazy.
I mean, there is definitely. I wouldn't go so far as to say who I think is, but Rose is stunning. She's stunning. And, graceful. Like, she's got that thug element to her, which I love. I love a little grit. And it seems like her and Pat Barry are doing really well right now. They seem really connected. So hopefully that'll all equal a victory, because she looked sharp. I don't know if you've seen any of the training footage, but she looked sharp. So we both think Rose is going to get revenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we both think probably decision.
Decision on that.
I'm going to say, decision, but possibly a TKO.
The next one, both of us, I'm pretty sure, are going to be in agreement. Peter Yan.
All right, say it on the. Oh, all right. I was going to make a game out of it, but yeah, Peter Yan is my bet. Jose is coming off a 2-fight losing streak. Legendary fighter in Jose Aldo, one of the most dominant fighters in the featherweight division back before there was a bantamweight division. I don't think he's that old now. I think he's only like 34 still.
Yeah, and a lot of people didn't think he lost his last fight. I didn't think so. I thought he edged out those rounds on Moraes. I really did.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I didn't mean to take any credit away from him. I just meant to say that
he is on a 2-fight losing streak. That's true. But I'm just saying that the way that fight looked, man, that's why he's fighting Peter Yan for the title here.
But
And,
Peter Yan is fucking so amazing.
Piotr, I should say Piotr. Piotr is, I complain when they do
Piotr.
Fedor instead of Fyodor, but Piotr. Or Piotr,
Right. Well,
if you want to
Peter
Americanize.
is incredible. This guy looks unstoppable right now.
He has that stalking style where he puts those hands up and he's moving in, and everybody I've seen just kind of backs up, backs up, backs up. He doesn't swing. He just does his light feints and power moves people to the edge of the ring. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's
And his
amazing.
footwork and head movement is so incredible. He reminds me of the MMA version of Lomachenko.
Oh wow! I didn't think about that. I don't think his footwork is moves quite enough.
No.
Dominic Cruz is more
That's a
kind of
def.
Loma,
But Dominic Cruz
has
doesn't look
patterns.
so beautiful when he's doing it. Like Lomachenko looks like he's dancing ballet. Peter Yan looks like he's dancing ballet. It looks so graceful. Cruz has a weird herky-jerky style, and it's effective, no doubt. And he's very hard to hit.
He
But
also bases it
it's
off of patterns more than like on the fly. This is what the person moves like. This is where I'm going to dance to. More. They're longer patterns than the reaction dances of Loma and whatnot. But yeah, he's a legend in himself, and he's Ukrainian, so I'll always be a fan of Lomachenko.
Totally. All right. Well,
Okay, not much argument. Now that said, I'd like to see Aldo win. I mean, I wouldn't feel bad. He's just such a deserving guy, but we're looking for the best fighter, and I think Peter Yan is a better fighter.
well, this isn't for the title, is it? Is it for the title? Yeah, I guess
title.
it is. You're right.
This is for the title. We got 3 title fights. And
When did Yan win the title?
Pardon?
Who did he beat? Who did Yan beat for the title?
Nobody. It's a vacant title because of
So it's a
Cejudo.
whatever the interim title.
Yeah, no. Cejudo left. It's a vacant title.
Oh, right. Cejudo. Cejudo's coming back. I can't. He's annoying. People for sure. I would put any amount of money that Cejudo is coming back.
Mm-hmm. He talks about it too much. Every chance he gets, he's like, "Oh,
he's in Dubai. He's in Abu Dhabi right now."
He wants money, is his thing. He'll come back for enough money, but
he's in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, as much as I hate to say it, those little guys, bantamweight starts to get exciting, but I guess he's all right for bantamweight. He was the champion, but I didn't see him defend, and I think he would have problems with some of the other fighters. No, I take that back. He did defend.
He'd have problems with Piotr Yan, I believe. I really do.
But
yeah.
Anyway.
So the last fight, Volkanovski kicked the ever-living love out of Max Holloway's legs. He brutalized
the first couple rounds especially. But see, Holloway said his legs were fine after that.
Well, but he's full of shit.
Like
Hold on. No, he brutalized his legs. They were completely covered in welts and bruises. There's no possible way that he was fine after that. I'm sure he's fine in like his tough ass Hawaiian way where he's not, because he's just a freak athlete. But
yeah, no human beings go right.
There was no way. He had to switch stances for 3 rounds of that fight because he couldn't leave that leg forward anymore. And if he doesn't figure out a way to fix that, he's neutralized essentially.
You think he's going to decision or KO it?
I don't know. I'm not saying that Holloway can't win. I'm saying that if he doesn't make an adjustment and deal with that leg kick issue, then deal with the fact that Volkanovski was getting the better of those exchanges, making harder contact. When they did go punch for punch, it seemed like Volk's shots were doing more damage, and he was landing a little extra here and there. So he needs to make adjustments. Now, I'm not saying he hasn't made those adjustments, but he needs to make those adjustments. So I'm going with Volk because I really think the last fight was so dominant, but I think that this fight is going to be a lot closer, and it's going to be a nail biter.
I think so
I think
too.
Holloway's going to make some adjustments. I just don't know if it'll be enough.
Yeah, I know Holloway's going to make adjustments because he was a professional champion for so long. I mean,
Amazing. One of my heroes. I
11,
love that guy.
how many freaking, what was his win streak too? 12.
It was a lot. He's amazing. One of my
But
heroes.
yeah,
I
I
love
like
him.
him too. And of course, we're both in the Pacific Island stuffs business. You folks should drink kava if you're watching this. It's good stuff. But so I, of course, have an affinity for Max just being a Hawaiian because I spent so much time down in the SOPAC and just love the hell out of the culture there. And yeah, there's some tough bastards, but Volkanovski looked so amazing.
He
So
looked incredible. Yeah. You know, he was 200, used to be 214 pounds. He played in professional rugby
yeah,
in
it was
Australia.
ridiculous. He was like half of what he used to. But
Yeah, it's wild.
I can't like imagine my body being X amount of pounds heavier. I would look like
He doesn't look that much different. I'm
recognize.
sure he walks around at like 175, 180, and he probably slowly cuts over a period of 2 months down to the 145.
Yeah, you have to measure your body fat percentage and all that to make sure when you cut, you're not going to be losing lean muscle mass and get your strength and conditioning down so that you can handle your cardio will keep up with. That's the other thing. When he was that sized, I wonder what his cardio was like. Like, I'm sure he was a tank, but he was probably a tank in short bursts. Like rugby, you're there, you're dun, 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 dun. Go, stop. Go, stop. Take a
I
rest.
don't know. He was probably
So,
pretty fit. He seems like a freak athlete. He started wrestling for 1 year, and his first year became the national Australian champion in his weight class.
wow.
Now,
Prodigy.
obviously, wrestling's not as big in Australia as it is in the U.S. The competition's not at the same level, but he won 2 years in a row, and then he gave up wrestling to go play rugby when it was like 19 and 20. And then he played rugby for a number of years, and then he gave up rugby to do MMA, even though he was a professional rugby player.
Wowzers. But yeah, I'm saying that like his cardio now, I'm trying to attest to the fact that since he's so much lighter for fighting, it's probably a hell of a lot better than when he was heavy for rugby because he only needed it for short bursts back then.
Yeah,
so
it had to be.
Like when you've had that body and now you've got this light body, I mean, he probably just feels like he can go forever in there because nobody has stayed toe-to-toe with Max into the later rounds like he has. Remember?
Yeah, Max never really got a chance to get going until round 5. He got a little something going, but that Max Holloway escalating pressure that we normally see never really got.
Like in the fucking Brian Ortega fight.
It was, and Brian Ortega had looked phenomenal leading up to that.
Yeah, he knocked out Frankie, finished Frankie Edgar in the previous fight when nobody finished Frankie Edgar before. And they're like, he finished him with a KO for crying out loud. And he's a jiu-jitsu guy. And then, damn, Holloway made him look like an amateur. And he even did that pointing thing like to Joe Rogan, this is the round. And after the 4th round, they didn't let him back up off the stool. So yeah. His eye was too swollen. So that was crazy. And so I think Max can, as a champion, make those adjustments. But
he's totally, I mean, it's totally possible. I just don't know. I don't know if it'll happen or not. I mean, it could, but it was such a almost, I hate to say mismatch because they definitely are both qualified to be in there together. So I don't mean it like that, but Volkanovski won by such a large margin, controlled the fight. You know, it was dominant the last time. So hopefully Max will make those adjustments and it'll be closer. Maybe he'll pull it out. But if I do decide to throw money on that fight, it's the one I'm having a hard time with a couple of fights in terms of betting, making I'm trying not to let my emotions cloud my judgment too much. But I
And
love Max
speaking
Holloway.
of that, let's get to the main event: Masvidal and Usman. Your emotions are with Jorge.
Right now, I'm probably going to say Volkanovski, though. I would say would be the safer bet. Although, if I looked at the odds on Holloway and it was crazy, he was a crazy underdog, I might throw it down on him just and say to hell with it, because I love them
Let
both.
me take a
They're
look.
both great guys.
They're
both great guys.
Holloway odds. Holloway is looking like he's averaging about a plus 160, 165, it looks like.
What's Volk at?
Negative 195.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so people are kind of thinking what I was thinking, I guess.
We were just wondering whether it's KO or decision. I think decision. I don't think he'll be able to ever finish Holloway.
Holloway's so tough.
Holloway was
Has
like
Volkanovski ever been knocked out?
Pardon?
Has Volk ever been knocked
out? I don't think so.
Yeah.
But when Holloway looked like a fetus straight up, he lasted the full fight with McGregor. And nobody had done that at that point.
Right.
Holloway's just a beast. So I say Volk by decision.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same. Yeah, that's my pick as of this moment.
So now the last one, which is Usman Masvidal. I want Masvidal to win because I
so
just
bad,
see
dude.
him, having lived in South Florida, I really want to see him win. I really want to see him win. And
he's my favorite active fighter right now.
I think Kamaru is going to decision him. There I go. I said it. My money is going to be on Kamaru.
So you don't do the fight.
You talked me out of that Askren bet last time, and that made me 6.5 times like 13 times my money or more, because you changed my fucking Masvidal. And I had Askren, but you're like, I think he's right. So
that was so stressful. Once you changed your mind, I had to sit there next to you for the next 3 hours.
It's the last one on the parlay too.
Yeah, I was sick to
all
my stomach.
4 of my previous fights hit that parlay, and it's this one.
Yeah. But I was so stressed out, and thank God that was a short fight.
Oh, the shortest. I loved it. Oh, we were both like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah. So here's how I convinced you the last time, and the only reason I'm going to bring it up is because it's kind of my same argument this time. While Masvidal has a lot against him, wrestling an elite wrestler, you say Usman wins by decision, which I assume you mean Usman controls the fight through wrestling, because he's certainly not going to win a stand-up, if he keeps it on his feet.
For grappling. So
right.
Keep in mind, Masvidal was probably still expecting like Usman to be his next guy, whereas Usman had switched gears to train for Gilbert Burns. So now we've got Usman having to shift gears a little bit, and I think that'll affect him somewhat. But he's such a good wrestler. Like, since he found out he was working on this grappling training, all right, now I'm going to need to train offensive wrestling from now until camp, because the other stuff I got down. He boxed with Colby really damn well for somebody that's not known as a striker.
But Colby can't box like Masvidal's the best pure boxer in the
UFC. Probably like, he hangs out with the Hands of Stone, for crying out loud. Roberto Duran.
He's the best pure boxer in the UFC. There's not a better, sweet science operator in the UFC.
I'd have to think about that as far as who the best pure boxer.
So there's better kickboxers. There's better all-around fighters.
No, Masvidal, Diaz. Yeah, fuck. You got me on that one. So anyway, I think
here's my thought.
Early, and
here's my thoughts. Is that the same way the way I got convinced you to bet against Askren last year? which I believe it was a year to the day. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it was a year to the day of this fight. But was that Masvidal is not really a shit talker. If he doesn't have a problem with you, he'll fight you, but it's just business. And he'll be honest and respectful for the most part. He did not do that at all in the fight build up to Ben Askren because he genuinely disliked him. And
yeah,
he also doesn't usually make promises, but he made promises for the Ben Askren fight. And so that let me know, for better or worse, that there was some emotion in this. So he would be motivated. Because one of the things about Masvidal is that sometimes he slacks either on training or his diet. But when he's motivated, I think he can do a lot. I really do think he's a champion in his skill set, especially within the last year or two.
I definitely think the odds are too much.
And I think that the way he's talked about Usman and how much he really genuinely hates Usman and how everything's fallen into place for him, I think that this may just be a situation of fate and destiny. I know that weight cut was brutal for him, though. So there's a good chance that if Usman can control the fight, take it to the ground, and grind him out, he'll never break Masvidal's will, but he could gas him out. I don't know that he has the conditioning to do 25 minutes of wrestling and win. So I'm hoping, and what I think he'll do is he's going to come out guns blazing. Yeah. Masvidal is going to come out and try and put the pressure on super hard in the first 3 rounds and hurt Usman bad in the first 2 rounds.
Don't you think Usman knows that, though? Now has seen the Askren fight, and he knows he's seen the Diaz fight. He's seen him since.
Right. But what's his option? Either he can come out guns blazing and be all herky-jerky and gung-ho, which falls into Masvidal's trap, or he can sit there and try to box with him and be conservative and, be worried about a blitz attack, and that also benefits Masvidal. So the longer Masvidal can keep Usman from shooting in, if he can figure out a way to make Usman scared to shoot, if he can hit him with a nasty, not necessarily flying, but a nasty knee the first time he goes to sniff his crotch.
Yeah, I think that's the exact quote I used when I talked to you about the fight yesterday. But if he makes him pay the first couple times in, but I'm wondering whether or not he can do that. But the way that you said now, like you said the last time, that you feel it because it seems like there's feeling of destiny. And the last time you said, like, I just have this feeling about this. And my mom used to say these things that you'd never think would happen. And she would say with her accent, I have these feelings, and these feelings is never wrong. And it kind of reminded me about that. And it's like, sometimes you can just feel these things. And am I denying the feeling? Because after that Robbie Lawler fight, if he would have done really well against Masvidal, there still would have been some questions. It just didn't seem right. It seemed like Ben Askren, it wasn't his time to come here and do this. It was this guy's time, and he's been there, and he's been rising since. I kind of do have to say that I've lost a little bit of taste for him because he's gotten this cocky, showy side to himself that he never had before. And that's a little frustrating.
He's just trying to make his money and set his daughter up for life. He's got this brilliant management team, and he's been killing it on the social media. I think he's trying to become, a Cuban. I don't want to say, I hesitate to say Conor McGregor, but I think he's trying to transcend the sport. And he's trying to be a larger-than-life personality. But also, I don't think he's changed who he is. I think that he just has gotten more comfortable.
Selling it up.
in front of the camera over time, especially since it's been more positive for him. And I wish him all the best. I really do. Now, all that said, I'm 100% clouded in my judgment. My decision-making is dubious at best because I hate Kamaru Usman. I can't stand him. So this is all me creating the perfect narrative in my head.
All right. Now here's going to be my spiel on this one, and stop me if I'm like going off the rails and you have a thought on something and whatnot, because I know I can get on going. But I mentioned that to you about he's going to try to sniff the crotch, and if he makes him pay when he comes in, etc. But Kamaru, he might get discouraged, and I thought about that more. But like Khabib, he'll shoot and he'll shoot and he'll shoot again. And if Kamaru knows that he needs to wrestle him to tire him out, if he makes him pay, yeah, he probably won't make him pay every time, but he might be able to shake off the attempts if he's good. And
his takedown defense is very good.
Yeah, I think Masvidal might just be good enough to do that, but it'll.
And there's photos of him training very recently with a world-class wrestler that he had brought in specifically to American Top Team. So this idea that he's coming off the couch, I think, is only half true.
He knew he was going to fight Usman sooner or later, and he hates him. And man, what we hated Askren, the parallels that you're pointing out have me thinking that. But putting those emotions aside, putting this belief in destiny aside, I initially said Kamaru by decision because I really do think Kamaru has the skills and the power and the know-how. I mean, he was able to wrestle fuck Tyron Woodley for 5 rounds. And Tyron did say he wasn't himself then, but you're a freaking up here on the wrestling food chain. And Kamaru.
Yeah, I think Tyron's time was done, but there's no doubt Kamaru or Marty Usman, he's a world-class wrestler. You can't deny that. I do think that Masvidal has very, very good wrestling for a striker. And if Masvidal can figure out a way to keep him on his feet, I was watching some of Usman's fights, and there have been times where he's gotten stung and been stunned, and 1 or 2 more shots would have put him away. And if there's anybody who can touch him up with a 3-piece, it's Masvidal. So I'm hoping that he can come out and sting him early, real early, and hurt him bad. The other thing is, we don't really see this from Masvidal too much, but what if he started hammering on the legs so that if he beats up Usman's legs in the first round so that any type of double leg has way less power behind it?
That's an idea. I mean, we've never seen him do that. Masvidal is not really a leg kicky guy, and before that, he was very much a point fighter. Like that fight with Ali Akinta was so careful, and that's exactly what he moved away from. And so now he's going in there for the KO. Will he soften up?
He's got to come out like a rhino, especially in this fight.
Yeah, the way I see it going, though, is Usman's going to continue to try to shoot, to do the takedown, to wrestle him for the first couple rounds. And when he exhausts him, he might let him up to his feet, but if that's working too well, it's going to go 5 rounds if Jorge can't get that. I don't think he'll finish him on the ground, even if he gets him there. I
think he absolutely could. Let's talk about the psychology. I don't know if you had this sense or not through the media, but Usman seems
disconcerted,
not as confident as Masvidal. He seems, I don't want to say shook up, but he's being like very conservative with his speech compared to Masvidal. And he doesn't seem super confident.
The fact he has to fight him, definitely, and he is afraid of losing to this guy that he
on 6 days' notice and .
shows that, which would demonstrate that he's in a state of cognitive dissonance, because if he doesn't deserve to fight him, why is he afraid of him? So yeah, you pointed it out that Kamaru is in a cognitive dissonance right now because he believes that Jorge doesn't deserve to fight him, that he's just a hype. But you can tell that he is really concerned about the way it's going to go. So
Kamaru hasn't finished anyone really of crazy significance besides Colby. I mean, he beat Damian Maia. He beat Woodley. Both of those were by decision. But Damian Maia is not a stand-up fighter. Woodley has an incredibly powerful shot, but he's not a real true boxer.
Here's the other thing. Can you imagine a fight where somebody keeps Masvidal, anybody? Imagine a fight where Khabib fights Masvidal and keeps him on his back for all 5 minutes of all 5 rounds.
Well, then they win for sure. No, I mean, no question. If Usman can do that, then he will win. I'm not denying that.
Imagine that happening to Masvidal. I can't envision a fight where anybody could do that to him. I'm sure that he's skilled enough where he would wriggle out somewhere and at least get a couple fucking flush shots that count in. So I think you fucking pulled me over on this one too. This is the second time you have talked me out of supporting the fucking unbeatable wrestler and supporting the fucking underdog striker. And it's the same guy. So we'll see how this goes for the parlay. But
I'm really hoping they don't allow him to do IVs anymore, right?
Yeah, no IV hydration.
That's fucking bullshit.
I know.
I'm really hoping he crushes a bunch of Pedialyte today, eats really good, and he walks back in that cage around 190 at 8 a.m. tomorrow.
To sponsor us, we will totally mention you guys' name every broadcast. So
absolutely
about products we love. And Pedialyte.
If Masvidal wins by submission in rounds 3, 4, or 5, it's a plus 10,000 odds, so 100 to 1.
Are you?
Can you imagine if he's been working on an arm bar, you know?
Oh yeah, because if he's counting on like Usman's gonna take me down, so I got some slick submissions ready because as Masvidal says, he's a crotch sniffer. Khabib tries to finish people. Yeah. Well, then again, I mean, he did hit Woodley 300 times, but those were pillow punches. He broke Colby's jaw, but that seemed to be more like the angle that he hit it at. Like, yeah. If I was to pick who was to punch me in the face, I might rather get punched in each side of the face by Kamaru rather than in one side of the face by Jorge.
Oh yeah, no, without question. So Jorge could literally fight like a 220-pound guy and hold his own. Because he's a beast.
Yeah, Masvidal would break my zygomatic arch. no questions asked. So yeah. Usman with 4-ounce gloves, I think I could take.
Yeah, I just don't see Kamaru having the power to put him away. I would bet there's no way he's knocking out Masvidal. There's no way he's submitting him. Masvidal finished a fight in Japan against what's his name, Saitoru Katora. I can't remember. But the guy broke his leg with an inward heel hook. He broke his ankle. And Masvidal turned around, went, pulled his leg out, and cracked him like 3-4 times, knocked him out cold. And when you want to talk about pressing the button, they had to bring this stretcher in to the ring to get this guy out. Yeah, it's a pretty amazing clip. But he pressed the button and held it down. And I don't know, man. If you look back at Masvidal's career, he doesn't really talk shit like this all the time. He doesn't do it very often. It's only the people that he really hates. And if you look at his record against people he really hates, it's a lot better than, you know, his total record.
Definitely. So, yeah, you got me. I hope it's a good decision. That'll be the exciting thing. It's going to come down to the last fight on the parlay because for the fans out there who are watching and listening and hoping that we become legendary on these picks, I am going to put money on everything that I say on here. There is nothing
Oh
that
yeah,
I try to say for somebody else like this might be a good idea. I am not responsible for your finances, so I ain't
no,
getting shit. But I'm
yeah,
telling
no. Either way, if I'm wrong on every one of those picks, I lose $100. That's the real talk. But I
you
will say,
what, yeah.
just an asterisk to the Masvidal pick. I hate Kamaru Usman so much. There's no way I could bet for him. And while I believe what I'm saying, I'm fully aware that some of that could be a rationalization. However, at this moment, I'm convinced that everything I just said is 100% true. But I'm also I'm admitting that I love Masvidal and I hate Usman, and that's what it is. But I'm probably going to bet $50 on Masvidal.
I love that reference you made to his interview, by the way, where you said he pushed the button and held it down.
Yeah.
You thought that was so brilliant. And that's why I love the guy too. I mean, when his video things were going around on YouTube early on in when he was fighting in Florida, I knew somebody whose cousin was at, so like it's still 3 degrees of separation, but still like I knew somebody whose cousin was at one of those fights that Kimbo Slice used to put on down in Miami. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was Jorge, but it was one of them because we were watching YouTube videos at this guy Mike's house, and he was there. And
Yeah.
hey man, you know my cousin was at one of these things, like this fucking.
Yeah. Both of Jorge's fights were against this guy named Ray. He was Kimbo's protege, and he was way bigger than Jorge. And
Yeah, like 2 weight
Jorge
classes.
won. He won both fights, but they were both competitive. The first one, especially, he kind of fucked him up in the second one, if I remember correctly. But
I forget who
uh,
it was. She's the one where Kimbo fought the guy in the fucking concrete parking lot and just oh
yeah, there was like boats in the background.
yeah.
Yeah, that one was amazing. He dropped that guy. The worst one is the one where Kimbo like blew up that guy's eye.
I don't recall seeing that one.
He hits him with an uppercut in this backyard, and apparently I looked into it, and apparently the guy was still able to see and everything, but it must have been superficial, like the eyelid and the the skin below the eye was just all mangled. But what it looks like was his eyeball exploded, like because he quits and there's no way you can see, but it literally looks like two female reproductive organs just smushed together. Like it's brutal. I mean, really, really disturbing, and I'm pretty desensitized to violence, but it's one of the worst things you've ever seen, and it haunted me so much that I looked up
Is one of
to
the
see,
things I've ever
because
seen.
I love Kimbo, but I was like, oh my God, like I don't know if I can support this, but I looked it up, and apparently the guy can still see out of that eye, and everything was okay.
So you can still support it.
Yeah.
All right. So we were in agreement in all. Well, we're now in agreement. We were in disagreement on this one, and the first fight, we were in disagreement with like a submission versus decision on Ribas versus Van Zandt. I'm still going with decision on that one. So but let me scroll through.
Let's see. let me pull up how Rebus's method of victory have been for her previous fights.
All righty. And in the meantime, I'm just going to touch base because we could do another one of these where I talk about the prelims, because I've watched some of the fights of the guys in the prelims to get an idea of their styles before. And I've got a couple good ideas, especially on the Volkan Prochaska fight, because Yuri Prochaska from Czech Republic, he's been fighting in Ryzen. And he fought CB Dalloway last. He's got like 23 first-round finishes. But I've watched his most recent couple fights, and he's got this style where he like leads with his chin. His whole freaking body is leaned forward, and his chin's way the hell out front. And it's almost like he's baiting the guy in. And he's got just this wicked winging overhand punch. And he's so freaking dangerous. So
For sure.
Volkan, though, using MMA math, Volkan, people think in terms of bad decisions, people think Volkan beat Dominic Reyes, and people think Dominic Reyes beat John Jones. Therefore, Volkan should be able to beat John Jones. So if he can beat the champion, this is UFC debut. They're throwing him in against a top 10 light heavyweight, his first UFC fight. So are they throwing him to the dogs, or do they know he's a badass? And he's got such a wicked hand, and he's a Slav. So I want to think that he is going to take Volkan out and blow people's minds. Is he a big underdog on that, or is it pretty close?
I don't know. I'll check in just a sec, but real quick, going back to the Van Zandt and what's her name, Rebus fight. So she's 9-1 is her record. She has 4 wins by KO or TKO. She has 3 wins by submission, and she has a couple wins by decision. So I am going to say that Rebus wins by KO, TKO, or submission. That's my pick.
She's got 7 TKOs?
No, she has 4 TKOs or KOs.
4 KOs.
And she has 3 submissions.
2 decisions.
Yeah.
Decisions.
3 decisions.
There's not 3 decisions, so a decision is as likely as a submission, but not. Maybe I should just bet that she finishes inside the distance.
All of her decisions have been unanimous, by the way.
Inside the distance. I'm not going to say the method, but I will say Rebus inside the distance.
Oh, excuse me. I said there was 4 by knockout. Apparently, there's only 3. So she's got 3 knockout, 3 submission, and 3 decision.
3-3.
So she finishes 2/3 of her fights.
60, yeah, 2/3. That's a 66% chance. She's so freaking valued in Vegas over Paige. I'm going to say she finishes inside the distance. I'm changing my submission. So
yeah, I want to check Paige Van Zandt's losses real quick.
Let's see here. So far we've got Rebus inside the distance. We've got Rose by decision. We've got Yan by KO or TKO, and Volkanovski by decision because he ain't finishing Holloway. And you talked me into Masvidal by KO.
Or TKO.
Yeah.
But I really hope it's by submission in the 3rd round because I'll put a $3 bet down and win 300.
If my website doesn't have that, I might have to let you put a few bucks down for me.
Yeah, we probably need to do it today because they switched the propositions the day of the fight.
Yeah,
but and Van Zandt has her loss. She is 8-4. Her 4 losses, 2 come from submission and 2 come from decision. So she's actually never been knocked out.
Ooh.
But she's been submitted twice in 12 fights. And Rebus is a legit black belt,
black,
I believe.
and a legit
I believe.
biker too. Jeez. I'm still saying Rebus inside the distance. I'm not picking a method, but I'm saying she's going to do it before the last and final level.
Yeah, I kind of think you're right. That's sort of what I was getting at. I think I'd agree with you there. I'm going to say I basically agree with you just inside the distance, but let's just for fun say that I'm going to throw $5 down that says Rebus wins by decision, or excuse me, submission.
All right. So yeah, for the final one, we're agreeing on the inside the distance. You're picking a submission as just like an icing on the cake bet, and I started that one thinking decision, and so that was my initial feelings. Your initial feelings, what we came to. We both felt pretty much the same thing about all the other fights, start to finish. And then on the Masvidal fight, I was saying Usman by decision, and you were saying Masvidal by KO. And after talking, that moved me over there. So we kind of changed both of our things on Rebus, and you changed my mind on the main event.
But I'd also just like to reiterate one last time that this is very much wishful thinking, in the same way that a religious zealot, has certain biases. I really 100% believe in my heart everything I've said, but I also know that my judgment is dubious at best. I would like to make that clear.
I am going to cover myself on the changing of my mind by saying I am not often swayed by superstition. That I try to look at fights myself, look at what records are at, look at what the odds are. I try not to listen to any other like analyst stuff beforehand because I don't want them to cloud my shit before I say that stuff. But last time you were right, and I changed it on a whim, and it was only just like threw $50 at it. What the heck? Because the two of us were together, so it was less money for the pay-per-view. And bam. And I think I only bet the parlay and like a couple other bets, but I took that risk and put the big money on the parlay. Usually I'll put like a few bucks on one of those. So
$5, $10, but yeah, you put 50 down on that parlay. I don't think either one of us has won a parlay since then.
I've won a 3-fight, but yeah, all my 5-fight greater parlays have been eaten. But and what kills me is I've had a lot of wins, and it'll be like one loss at the very end or at the very beginning that ruins the whole thing. At least when it's at the beginning, my other bets count more, and I can still go for each one of those individually. But when it's at the very end, you're just getting more nervous each time. So it's going to be that build up. You know what? I'm going to split my parlay a bit, and I will put another parlay that has those same fights, and then Usman winning.
Oh, did we talk? We talked about Thug Rose, right? We think Thug Rose is going to head out by decision. What about
perhaps
method of victory?
No,
method of victory for Piotr Yan. Do you think he's going to knock Aldo out or win by decision?
Absolutely, Yan by KO. He's legend, man. That he's going to be at the top for a while.
He's electric. I mean, he's electric.
I say,
and apparently fairly new to the sport.
3 title defenses at least.
I can see that. All right, man. Well,
all right. Those are the picks. When we post this video, we will throw them up in the description as far as what each of us had to start with and then what we had at the end. And I'll probably post what my financial risks were on each bet to just
I will as well. We'll throw up where we're at on the season or after as a result. We'll post post those results. So
Yep. All righty. Well, thanks for tuning in, folks. Hope to see you next week. I think it's next week. And hope we can help make y'all some money and make some money ourselves a little bit at a time. Start out small, but then start making those bets like they do on those things where they charge for the memberships and they're $100 a pop. So to grow.
all right. Yeah, I'm so excited for tomorrow. There's also, the prelims, and the Fight Pass card is incredible too. So it's going to be,
Yeah,
heart-stopping. It's going to be an amazing night of fights.
if we decide to do a little prelim video after this, maybe we can stick that up too. So if we do, we'll definitely put it up so you guys look for it. But I am going against the grain, and I think I'm picking Porchaska for the headlining prelim.
All right. Well, we'll save it. So
here's for a little tape.
I'm Samuel Paradise.
And I'm Andrew,
right.
Your favorite sociologist on the other channel where I talk politics and not MMA. So
don't forget to love yourself and your country.
Love yourself, love your country, and don't let my politics cloud the way you think about my picks, because they both might suck. Anyway, we'll see how it comes. This is our first week actually like putting them down and putting it public out there for people to see. So I think we'll either like keep on killing it or maybe just get embarrassed and have to start from scratch. So good talking to you.
Take care.
Ta-ta. Good luck, everyone.